Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden. Before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this on your Facebook page. Okay, it's time for the porch. I do the porch multiple times a year with my front porch. This is the first house. I've lived in actually a lot of houses. My husband and I bought and sold a lot of real estate to get to a place where our mortgage was really tiny. And this front porch is the first real front porch I've ever had in any of the houses. I think this is the seventh house. Yeah, it's a lot of houses over the years. And I have so much joy decorating it. Decorated it for spring and summer and different holidays, 4th of July and Halloween, and of course Christmas, and just lots of fun things. And now I've gotten to the point where I kind of decorate for a season. So in the past I've done a spring and a summer. This year I'm just doing kind of a spring summer all together. I found that during the summer I really just run out of energy because it's so hot and I just really don't want to come out and decorate. So for this setup I'm going to do one to kind of go May all the way through probably until mid-September, and then I'll decorate for Halloween, which is my favorite time to decorate this porch. So what we're going to be doing, we went ahead and started with a clean out. I had all my kids and my husband come out, cleaned everything off the porch. I usually go through and I wipe down all the windows and the doors, and I dust off all the floors and everything like that. So we went ahead and took care of that, but let me do a walkthrough on the porch just to kind of give you a general idea of what we're dealing with. Okay, so my front porch faces south. So it gets mainly shade all day. It gets a lot of ambient light, indirect light, and it's a giant L shape basically. And so this first portion is the portion to the front door. And I've already got a few things in here. And the ceilings look like this, and yes, that is the Virginia creeper covering the ceiling, which is something I wanted. Now I thought last year when it started doing this that I was going to struggle with a lot of insects, but I didn't. And it actually stayed a lot cooler in this space because of the greenery that's here. So really enjoyed that. But so we've got this L space, and then we go over to this portion of the L. And you might have caught the video from the Contain This Garden Challenge that I did with Crane from Cranery Gardens and Beth from Crowley House Flower Farm. And we all did container work. And so I did this set of containers. Beautiful. I'm obsessed with them. Look how well they filled in already. Look at this impatience. Gorgeous. Really, really looking nice. And this mirror is typically white. And I went ahead and painted it this beautiful green color called Park Bench to complement this vintage stand that I ended up picking up from a recent sale. Okay, I just realized I was on cinematic, so I don't know what that all looks like. I just switched to regular mode. But I got this vintage stand from a junk sale. So it's looking good. I have a bistro table that I got on the side of the road and painted black. And I have another couple of them, another chair coming in. And then this is my main inspiration for today's design. This is a strawberry pillow that I picked up from Home Goods last year. I guess I paid $24 for it, which is a little shocking for me. All right, but I bought it last year and I loved them. I have 2 of them, and I just didn't end up doing a porch design with it. So I knew I wanted to use it this year. So you can see how I've already begun to tie it in with reds and pinks, and then kind of replicating this Park Bench green color in the mirror. Now the mirror was white for like 6 years, y'all. So it was time to take it a different color, and I really like the look of it. And I bought this mirror just from somebody in my neighborhood. I love mirrors on porches. With that being said, I have a mirror over here. This is a mirror that was pulled out of an old barn, and its glass is not perfect. It's it's scratched and it's kind of a filmy, but I love it. It's really, really pretty. And I'm gonna keep this in white because I don't want everything too matchy-matchy. And then this is the behind sofa table that I bought a couple of years ago and painted gray. And then recently I decided to go ahead and change it to that park bench green just for a little more lightness. I originally had painted it a gray so it blended a little bit better with the darker table or the darker door, but I really like this green color. I'm kind of obsessed with it. Now this guy is, I don't know if he's going out here. This is a trellis that I picked up yesterday at Vintage Market Days in McKinney for $20, y'all. Look at that. There's another piece that's going to be coming out here too that I had picked up. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some arranging in here. I'm going to bring in a couple more pieces, show you guys a few things, and I want to talk through my process of decorating and what my thoughts are. Okay, one of my main reasons for keeping that mirror white is because I also have this old wooden bench that I quite frequently like to use. And it ends up being really great storage for packages, things like that, and I like it very much. Now, in the past, I've tried to center it on the mirror. I think this time I'm going to move it a little bit further down that way. I think that that's going to work out well. But since this is white, having that white makes sense. I didn't want to paint everything green because it's too matchy-matchy, and I didn't want to leave just one piece white. So I've got two pieces that are white, and then I've got this table and the other mirror that are the green. Okay, I also like some height back here towards the end of the bench, and so I'm going to put this old column that I got years ago. And this is actually what used to be where that green stand is that I recently got. This one's wood. I had a plant on it that got watered all the time, and so obviously it is degraded. It was pretty degraded to start off with, but in order to have it longer, it needs to be in a location that is not going to get a bunch of water on it. So I think this is going to work well. Got a little bit of the blue showing. I think that's okay. I could turn it and have all white. I think the blue is actually going to work out nice. So let's keep adding. Okay, next we're going to be adding in this piece. Now, this piece is not finished. We're going to fill it with something and make it nice and pretty. But I just want to give a little bit more height to this space. Now, I'm working a lot with what I already have, and most everything on here has been purchased from Facebook Marketplace or discounted somewhere. I don't buy a lot of new. Of course, I bought the new pillows. There's not a lot more that I bought brand new. And this piece is actually, it was some expensive brand, and I bought it years ago, multiple houses ago. And it's worked out really well. And it was originally on this column on the other side of the porch. But since we're going with the strawberry thing, I'd love to fill this with some faux greenery. I don't get enough light back here to grow much of anything. And everything that's back in this portion is not set up to drip, which means it is not going to get water no matter how many times I try to remember. So I use a lot of silk and faux greenery when designing, especially during the fall and the winter. And I'm a big proponent of that because you buy it once and you have it forever. So I think that we're going to do some kind of greenery, maybe some strawberries spilling out, something like that I think would be really pretty. But I do like the height. Also, it adds a hiding place back here once again for deliveries and things like that. But yeah, I think this is good. Now I know that this seems like a small path, but in reality, this is about 6 feet across because I am a giant person. I'm very tall, and I think it's plenty of room for what we need. Now there is a outlet right here that gets in the way. Several of y'all have suggested I need to get some lifts. Maybe we'll look at getting some lifts. I don't know how that's going to look. The lifts would have to be like that tall. Maybe we won't do that. Yeah, I originally had the table and mirror on this side, but then it felt weird because I have a giant outlet on this side. It does work better over here. All right, let's add some more. Okay, so I have a lot of vintage and antique pieces that I like to use. And I like to use them over and over and over again. Sorry, I've got some hot glue left on here from another project. And the reason I have hot glue is because during Halloween, and I'll put up a picture here, I had a lot of potion bottles that I made, and some of them were glass. And this guy leans, it doesn't stand up straight, and so I wanted to make sure that we didn't have broken glass bottles if it got super windy or something like that. And so I put a drop of hot glue under each of them, and the hot glue just comes right off with a straight edge razor. I use hot glue for a lot of stuff. You'd be shocked what I hot glued to this brick here. It works awesome. And that's actually how a lot of, what do you call it? Christmas lights are installed, is using hot glue. Okay, I'm just gonna put it this way, and it's gonna lean back, and it is gonna overlap the mirror. I'm real big about layering, lots of layering. It's what works best for my aesthetic. I wouldn't say I'm a maximalist, but I'm something, I like things that have meaning. So everything I got has a story. And it has to have meaning, and a lot of times it has to have a purpose. It can't just be aesthetically beautiful or aesthetically pleasing. It has to have a little bit more than that for me. And layering things really speaks to that aesthetic of a story, of a collection, of a curated setup of items. I love to decorate. I absolutely love it. I am very big on do what works best for you. Who cares what anybody else thinks? It's legit. I totally am. And so I encourage all of y'all to be that way as well. Okay. I have a hook here for my Christmas garland. What do we think? Does that look weird? There's going to be some more pots right here. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it here for a little bit and see what I think. Okay, so I have most of my major pieces set. I think what I want to do now is I really want to start styling some of these containers, and I'm going to put a few containers here with some silk floral, some faux floral, so that I can see where the punches of color are going to be before I accessorize everything. I think that would be a good idea. So let's do that. Okay, so I love using silk floral in designs on my porch, which I know is counterintuitive considering I'm a gardener, right? But y'all, I've tried to grow a lot of things back here. It doesn't work. It's just literally a waste of money. So what I want to do is I love doing things like this, and I'm just using some wire cutters to cut off the end. I love doing things like this in order to create, something similar, something beautiful, and I'm going to have to cut this a little shorter. Green and beautiful. And then I can reuse it for multiple designs over the years, right? But then it adds a lot of life and color to my space. So the silk stems I'm using right now are from Michael's. And I got them on sale. And then quite frequently I will also shop faux stems at the end of seasons. It's one of the best times to pick up this stuff, and then you can use it for the following season. Then you can get them on clearance. And I was really hoping that this one would basically look like pothos. Now with faux floral, I think it's really easy to fall into a trap of making everything even. It's actually very helpful if you arrange your stems and your greenery in a non-even asymmetrical to allow the look to look more organic and natural. And then from there, I just have one stem of geraniums that I'm going to incorporate. And then on this like bunch right here, I'm just gonna cut all of these off. Because when I do that, it allows me the opportunity to place them exactly where I want them instead of having to deal with the entire bunch. Okay, so I've arranged these planters together in a trio, and when I'm adding the floral to them, I'm gonna treat them the same way. I'm gonna treat them as a collection, 3 planters going together, not each individual ones. So when I put the stems in, I'm gonna work through all 3 planters as I'm doing it. All right, and when I'm placing them, I'm opening them up some, and I'm leaning them forward as I design. I'm not necessarily stressing about the back of the container all that much. Okay, and you can see I approached it as a design overall instead of each individual pot so that they all work together to make one larger statement design. Okay, so I don't love this. I think that it's too perfect, for lack of a better description. And I'm gonna do a couple of things. I'm gonna pull out the tulips here. And I'm gonna incorporate a little more greenery right here. And then add back in a few more of the poppies. Also got some moss that I got off of Temu, and it's like shrink wrapped. So as I open it, it will expand. So I don't really know what that's gonna look like. We'll see. Okay, here we go. So basically, just come in. I think I'm supposed to put it in water, and then I can tuck it in. Let me do that. Let's try it. I don't know what you're supposed to do with this. Put a couple other bricks in here. Okay, that's what I was hoping. This is natural moss, and so as it gets water, it's expanding. And the idea is that I can come in and go like this. Now, this is obviously not going to stay moist. It will dry out fairly quickly. This is Texas after all. We might actually hit a 99 degrees this week, which is crazy. So I'm just gonna come to the edge of the pots, and I'm just gonna incorporate some of this moss on the edge of the pots where you can see the soil. And I think that's gonna lend itself to looking a little bit more natural. Now in this container over here, I'm gonna let my focus be just the tulips. And then on this back design, we're gonna do just a few tulips, but they're gonna be tucked in a little bit further in order to highlight the red a little bit more. What I really wish I had is more greenery, but I'm not gonna go spend my money on that. So we're gonna stick with this. I don't love them, but we're gonna go with this because here's the deal. I can't afford to go buy all the things I need for this year. I'm gonna have to build on these silk florals over time. So it's just gonna be what it is for now. It's still beautiful. I mean, come on. It's still really, really pretty. I think that's looking good. Okay, let's start working on some accents for the table space. All right, so I'm gonna start with a few different things. Here's the deal. You might as well just bring things out and try. That's what's always going to be important. So I love the idea of a trio of objects. And I picked up all of these at a thrift store. So this is actually real preserved boxwood, which I think is really pretty. And then a little lantern, and I can put a battery operated candle in there, which would be kind of fun. Okay, I feel like I need to soften this, so I have these crocheted runner, and this is a family piece. It's got stains and stuff over the years, but I think it'll go a long way to lighten up this space. And I like using what I have. I mean, when I'm not using this, this is just like in a container. Like you don't even see it, which is a shame, right? So I think I'm going to have it come off a little asymmetrically. Perfection's not really my thing, y'all. Yeah, that's pretty. And that white ties again into that cool trellis that I recently got and up to the mirror, which is nice too. And now I feel like the topiaries are set off a little bit more in this space. I think I might incorporate the lantern over on the bench. Okay, that looks good. All right, I have a jadeite bowl that I want to bring out, and I'm going to fill it with faux strawberries. All right, I've got, it's not actual jadeite, it's actually, it's a ceramic. Something USA. It's like USA pottery or something like that. Okay, so I've already got some moss in there, and I've just got some of these faux strawberries that I picked up from Temu. Now, these are not the best quality, but y'all, we're okay with that. I bought these a year ago. And so we're just going to tuck in so I look like I have a bowl of fresh strawberries. Oh yeah, that's sweet. That looks good. Okay, I think what's bothering me is the fact that there's 3. So what if we tuck one under here and then shift this over a little bit? We just needed to spread out the color a little bit, the impact of all of that color. So now I spread it out. I could even bring this all the way, and I like it there too, just to bring a little bit more color this direction. Now I had picked up, I think it's like a scarf actually, situation from the thrift store, and I like just the subtle pop of pink and just a touch of blue on it. And so I'm going to just come in here and drape it across the bench. And I like to make sure it's not touching the ground in case I have water come back. All right. Coming in with the pillow. So I've got this 3-tiered planter, and I've used it before. And it's got existing soil in it, but it has been inside in the garage for at least a few years now. So I'm going to go ahead and start by adding moisture, and you can see some of the moisture dripping out. Now there are trash bags in here as liners, and the liners do have holes in them to allow water flow out. Now I learned a lot from the last time that I did this. Last time I planted this in the round, all the way around, and immediately several of y'all were like, hey, you're gonna have to turn that frequently because all the flowers on the back are gonna die. It's very, very smart. This planter is gonna end up going on my bistro table on the front part of the L. And the back half of it will be facing against the side of the house. And then the front part of it, oh man, this soil is tough. So the front half of it will receive some light. So what I want to do is I'm going to repurpose the soil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add biotone to each of the levels. Use my garden fork. Kind of mix that in some. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill this with a mix of begonias and some impatiens. Now, on these impatiens, I accidentally left them outside quite a bit in full sun, and they are unhappy. So note to self, they will bounce back. And my focus is really gonna be to focus, the whole top will be filled nicely. And then we're just gonna fill the front half of the middle and the front half and a little bit of the sides. Okay, well, that's not terrible. It's really nice. So I'm gonna take a little time to water this. And one thing it's gonna do is it's gonna get soil all over the ones below it. And I think that that's because I have an overabundance of soil right now. I mean, look at all this coming out. But once all the soil gets settled in there, I think it'll be way better. And this just really needs time to soak up water. Okay, last thing I'm gonna do on this design is use some of that moss. And we're just gonna come in here in some areas. This already has a layer of moss between the outside of the pot and the plastic trash bag lining. So we're gonna tuck in the moss for a few different reasons. Help moisture retention and soil. And then also to camouflage any of the trash bag that might be showing. And let this be a sign to you, you don't have to plant every container every year. I haven't planted this container in a few years. And now I feel like I'm coming back to it with fresh eyes, which is kind of exciting. All right, so we have the bistro table. And I usually try to center it on the window, but I'm not going to this time because it ends up being too smushed. So I'm gonna move it over a little bit. This guy actually goes to the back, right where it was. Right here, thank you. Would you throw that away? Yeah, got it. All right, so I found this concrete planter on the side of a road several years ago. And it doesn't have any drainage holes. So typically I put silk floral in it. But I do have a few more begonias and impatiens. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and plant those in here. And since it doesn't have holes in it, I don't have to remember to water it as often. Famous last words, right? Okay, and then also on this, I'm going to use some of the additional moss to soften the edge of the planter and to also help with moisture retention for when I inevitably forget to water it. It's good to know yourself. All right, I'm not gonna water too heavily. Okay, so I got this metal thing at Vintage Market Days McKinney, and I don't think it's particularly old or anything. I think somebody just spray painted it white. I don't know. It's got some hangers and stuff on it. Figure out how I want to hang this. So I think I'm just gonna have it on the hook right here. Now I would like to add a little bit of color to it, so I did pick up some ribbon. Okay, the first ribbon I picked up is to kind of tie in with the park bench green that I painted a couple of the pieces. Then I picked up some red and white gingham, which I think is classic for strawberries. Then I picked up another ribbon, which is just like a sweet little floral pattern. And usually when I'm working with ribbons, I like to have one ribbon that has all the colors in it. So you've got your green, you've got your gingham, and then we've got this floral ribbon that has multiple colors in it. So it has the pink, the red, and the green, which I think works nicely. So I'm just gonna do a really nice, soft little bow that I think we're just gonna put at the bottom and keep this super simple. And I think I'm gonna do the bows separately and then glue them on top of each other. And I'm just gonna do a shoestring bow, something simple. I don't want it to be like a fancy bow like what I do for Christmas. Just a soft bow. And I'm just using a little dab of hot glue. We'll place it right at the bottom here. All right, and then the floral. This adds just a little color over here. And I think just for like another little tie-in, I think I might add a little bow accent here, but I'm not gonna tie, well, I'm not gonna tie a bow. I'm just gonna tie a knot of ribbons. So I've just got a length of ribbons here. And I'm just gonna tie them in a knot. I'm not actually tying like the knot like really tight. And then I'm just gonna put a little dab of hot glue. Glue that in place. Just add a little color here. Okay, and then I feel like there's a blank spot right here. So I'm gonna bring the lantern over. And what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this ribbon and I think I'm gonna stack it pretty in the lantern. And then I'm gonna add a handful of strawberries in there too. Okay, I also grabbed some of my terracotta pots, like some of my smaller ones. And I was thinking that it might be nice to have some of these sitting in this container, or in this little shelving unit. And I think that goes a long way to tie back in some of the terracotta containers that are on the other area by the bistro set. Okay, I also picked up this basket recently from Vintage Marketplace again in McKinney, Vintage Market Days in McKinney. So I'm gonna start with a vintage linen, just kind of spilling out over the side. And then I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna style it with some terracotta pots. I also have like a little red and white linen. I'll just put off to the side there. And I've got my pot brush for cleaning containers. Move that into place. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm gonna pull the table back a little bit further. Like that. All right, and then the final touch, an inspiration for the whole design. Looks good. Okay, it feels amazing. I love it. I wore my strawberry shirt. It's really nice to see this design come to fruition because I've been thinking about it for well over a year and collecting different elements, looking and shopping within my house and the things I already have, playing with color. And I know red is not a popular color, but I like it. I don't use it a lot in my decor inside, but I like it out in the garden. I think it's really beautiful and a beautiful pop. And I think this is going to read really well for the remainder of my spring. And we're only a month out from summer here in North Texas. So really excited and happy with how it turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, just hearing some of my design processes and my thoughts as I'm putting things together. Don't feel like you have to aim for perfection. Try things, put them in place. If 2 days later, if you don't like it, move it. Definitely just be flexible with what you're doing. Try different things, push yourself a little bit further, look at it. And like I said, if you feel like you need to make a change at a later point in time, then make a change. It's no problem at all. I'm sure that as I continue to enjoy this porch over the rest of the season, that I will make changes along the way as I move things, add things, remove things, whatever I end up doing. All right, y'all, as always, make sure you like and comment on the video. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow the video so much. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just drop me an emoji below, letting me know you made it to the end of the video and you say hi. And be sure to check me out in my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. It is all things gardening, all things She's a Mad Gardener. It's a lovely group of people who just like to share pictures and chats, and there's exclusive videos. There is a free tier that you can join at, and then there are additional paid tiers, and the higher up you are in the tiers, the more access you get. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.